So here we have Jesus in the desert going one-on-one with the devil. Let's close our eyes just for a moment and try to picture that scene. Imagine Jesus having a conversation with the devil. Jesus, tired and hungry after 40 days fasting in the desert. The devil tempting Jesus. In your mind's eye, what does the devil look like? Open your eyes. What did you see? Luke doesn't tell us what the devil looked like. Not a word about horns or a tail or a red cape or a pitchfork. None of that stuff. But you know, when the devil tempts me, I never see horns and a cape. That doesn't mean that temptation isn't sometimes right in my face. But more often than not, temptation sneaks up on me. More often than not, it comes as if out of nowhere. It comes in the half-light of shadows, indistinct, and yet somehow beckoning, inviting, appealing. Often when temptation comes to me, I have a kind of deja vu recognition of it. I've seen this before. I've heard this before. I've felt this before. I've wanted this before. I've desired this before. Temptation's magnetism often seems to have a vague history with me. You know, I think the devil is smart enough not to show up in a Halloween costume. The devil likes to go around incognito, likes to blend in with the crowd, drawing no undue attention to his cunning self. So maybe you're sitting there thinking, wow, I guess Father Fleming really believes in the devil. Well, who I really believe in is God. But I also believe there is abroad in the world a power for evil. And that power is the enemy of all that is good and true and pure in me, in you, and in the world around us. The power for evil in life, call it the devil if you like, the power for evil doesn't dress up as Satan, but rather comes clothed in my desire for control, in my inclination to put my needs ahead of your needs, in all the ways that I'm biased and prejudiced, in my tendency to rush to judgment, in my careless disregard for the gifts of creation, in my simmering anger and rage, in the cheap delight I take in gossip, in my jealous self-pity and envy, in my unfair and unjust words and actions, in the lust that lurks in my thoughts and desires, in my easy dependence on lying and cheating to help me get by, in the resentments and grudges that I hold in my heart, in my infidelity to promises I've made, and in all the excuses I make and find to put off time for God and prayer. Those are my temptations. Those are the ways I encounter the devil in my life. How about you? What are your temptations? In what disguises does the devil cross your path during the week? The devil is smart and knows that if he showed up in a red cape and a pitchfork, well, he'd scare the hell out of us. We'd run away from him. So he comes knocking on our doors dressed in Friday casual clothes, looking normal and harmless, beckoning with feigned innocence, enticing us to follow him, to buy whatever he's selling or offering or promising today. And the devil is patient and subtle. Can't you just hear his voice? Oh, come on. Go ahead. Not a big deal. Who's going to know? Nobody's going to get hurt. You work so hard. You've waited so long. You've been so good. Hey, you deserve this. Temptation is smooth, subtle, seductive, and very convincing. And how about when I resist temptation? Is that then the end of it? Does the devil then walk away defeated, dejected, disappointed? Didn't get that one. When I resist temptation, the devil quietly slips into a corner just out of sight and hits the deck doing push-ups, getting stronger and stronger, biding his time with exquisite patience while I congratulate myself, pat myself on the back for having resisted temptation until my pride and my confidence swell and render me an even easier target for devil's temptations when he returns, pumped up with the muscle of his conniving. Well, are you feeling hopeless? I hope not. We might if it weren't for the story in today's gospel. The story where Jesus goes mano a mano with Satan and he wins. He doesn't give up. He doesn't give in. He resists and overcomes every temptation he faces. He defeats the devil and teaches us something very important. Jesus faces temptation after 40 days and nights with no food. And as the gospel tells us, he was mighty hungry. Now, you and I know from Thanksgiving Day dinner how eating can dull our senses, make us feel drowsy and lethargic. You have to take a nap on Thanksgiving afternoon. Jesus has been fasting for 40 days. It's in that way that Lenten fasting, giving up something until I feel the pinch, how that's meant to heighten my senses, make me more aware of what's going on around me, and more ready to face it. Fasting in Lent is meant to sharpen my awareness so that I might see temptation for what it is and learn to recognize it when it's right in my face, regardless of its costume or disguise. And note how the tempter offers Jesus what's already his as the Son of God. All the power and the glory in the world. That's not the devil's to give to Jesus. Jesus already has all of that. He's the Son of God. It's the same thing that happened in the Garden of Eden to that first man and woman when the tempter told them, if you eat the fruit of this one tree, you'll be like God. But the man and the woman were already made in the image and the likeness of God. That serpent had nothing to offer them that they didn't already have. The tempter delights in getting me to think of myself as incomplete, not good enough, second class, and then flashing before me a makeover version of myself, which isn't the true me, which isn't the real me, which isn't the me that God made me to be. But the devil shows me as little more than smoke and mirrors, a photoshopped, touched up airbrushed fantasy of me that ultimately leads me away from knowing my true self and from truly knowing who God is in my life. The tempter invites Jesus to believe that if he gives in, things will be a lot easier, painless, pleasant, and pleasurable. But don't we all know from our own experience that giving into temptation never yields the happiness that we thought it was going to bring us? Oh, there might be a brief high, but the letdown from that and the pain it causes me and others in my life can't equal and certainly doesn't ever exceed the satisfaction and the serenity that's ours when we're faithful to God and the life that's already ours. Just look at the three basic exercises of Lent: prayer, fasting, and caring for the poor. They're just what we need to confront what tempts us. Prayer, growing closer to God, in whose image I'm already made. Fasting, learning to see temptation for what it is, to heighten my awareness of it in my life. Caring for the poor, finding peace not in satisfying myself, my own desires, but in serving the needs of others. Those are the tools that Lent offers to strengthen us, to strengthen each of us, to face the temptations from which we pray to be delivered. The best way to win the battle with the tempter is to stay close to the side of Jesus, who fought this battle already long ago, once for all of us, and he won. Lent is a time for us to make our way into the winner's corner and to stay there close to Jesus, who's already won the fight that is ours in temptation. If you want to know if you're having a good Lent, it's not about counting how many chocolates you have, or how many beers you have, or how much turkey you gave up. If you want to find out if you're having a good Lent, it's finding out if giving up chocolate or beer or turkey has brought you closer to Jesus. Nothing else matters. Only he can deliver us from temptation. And every victory over temptation we have is the strength and the power of Jesus in our life working within us. Especially at this table, in the sacrament of this altar, do we find the strength we need to say no to the tempter and yes to the truth of God in our lives. So come to the table this morning and be nourished by the one whose victory is ours in his mercy and his love for us all.